If the environmentalists of the world get their way, in 10 years' time you may have to watch this video to hear the real, true sound of a thumping V8 engine. Savvy investing is best left to the experts. And when it comes to offshore investing, it's even more important to talk to an expert. Well, Earl Don from Forexpert is the guy you should be talking to for your offshore investments. Hi, I'm Alan R. from MotorMatters, CHANGECARS and all things motoring. The SuperCruizer, based on a Toyota Land Cruiser, quite obviously, because what a base to use in the first place. Now, this is a slightly older version, but then one of the things about the 70 series Land Cruiser is the fact that they've barely changed in more than 40 years. Up to very, very recently, you couldn't get a Land Cruiser with an automatic transmission. And you still can't get a V8 diesel Land Cruiser with an automatic transmission. So, what has happened? The guys from US Cruisers and US Trucks have been running their business for a while now, putting auto transmissions into V8 diesel cruisers. That V8 engine, which is a 4.5 litre, puts out in normal mode 151 kilowatts and about 450 newton meters of torque. Well, this baby's got a turbo on it. So now suddenly it puts out 270 kilowatts and somewhere between 800 and 900 newton meters of torque. That's big. I'd show you the engine, except that bonnet is so heavy, I'm not lifting it right now. But also what they've done is, look at these massive wheels over here. And they've upgraded the suspension. It's got dinkum full-on off-road suspension. But something that did actually really catch me out on this test. Every 4x4 and off-road vehicle I've tested and driven over the last few years, you get in and you turn a knob for 4 high, 4 low, diff locks, this, that, the next thing to do off-roading. This one has still got manual locking front hubs. Something that hasn't been put on a recent version of any 4x4, can I put it that way? But you know what? There's also the old story of why fiddle with something when don't fix it when it ain't broke, as they say. Why fiddle with a system that works? But it goes back to the good old days of 4x4ing. Okay, fine, whichever way. This is obviously the double cab version. Open up the back door over here. We've been off-roading, so please, it's dirty, it's got stuff. But one of the things about it is, it is a high to get into. That's for sure. And luckily for anybody riding in the back, it's just me driving. Because I wouldn't say that this has got the most space in the back seat. But again, you don't buy it for that. You buy it for the legendary toughness and off-road ability that you know this vehicle has got. And once US trucks and US cruisers have got hold of it, the power that you've got along with it. Let's check it out on the road. We've done off-roading. You'll see a video on the off-roading. And I want to show you, they've also done quite a lot to the interior as well. On a piece of dirt road, this Land Cruiser eats it for breakfast. Dirt roads are absolutely no issue, no problem. There's some bad sections on this road, some good sections, but you know what? Take your speed easy, just be in control, but it could do this all day long and just keep going and take it nice and easy. And the big point of this is, of course, it's a vehicle you want to take to go out into nature. You want to go out into the country and get away from city life. And if ever you got away from city life, it's coming up into the mountains around Great Marico. And I think you get the idea. We're just in the middle of nowhere, quite honestly. But that's the beauty. And yeah, I know it's bumping and bouncing, but it's supposed to be doing that on this road. I'm also not going that slowly either. But don't worry about the speed, that's not the point. But I can tell you, I'm pretty comfortable in the driver's seat. It may look like it's bumping and bouncing badly, but it's not nearly as bad as it seems. The power is just ridiculous, but it's not about power, of course, when you're in these conditions and circumstances. You want enough power and torque, obviously, to do everything you're doing and to do everything you need and everywhere you go. But that's not the point. It just is a vehicle that you can cruise along all day long. And when I get back onto the tar, that's when you can put your foot down and actually enjoy the turbo added to the V8 engine and everything else to give you unbelievable and ridiculous ability that you don't expect this vehicle to have. But right now, I think we actually got it more in its natural habitat, its natural terrain, and just enjoying life, quite honestly. The SuperCruiser is built for tackling tough roads, tough conditions, dirt, sand, rocks, trails, 4x4s, or anything else you want. If there's one possible problem it may have, this turboed V8 may be a bit too powerful for these circumstances, as opposed to on-road or probably sand or something like that. But you know what? We're up in a mountain, in the middle of nowhere, on the farm, and this is not even a normal 4x4 trail. This is our private MotorMatters trail that we're busy establishing and busy doing. And we're going to show you exactly what this cruiser can do. The SuperCruiser from US Trucks. And let me tell you, it's going to do the business without a doubt. Well, you'll see that this is absolutely nothing to the SuperCruiser. It's a rough trail, it's overgrown, it's rocky, it's bumpy, but it's not exactly 4x4ing. But then again, I wouldn't want to come in up here or down here in anything other than this. So you've got to look at it that way, but it's a pretty comfortable ride overall. The only issue I've found so far, quite honestly, I think this V8 turbo just has actually too much power. It just really feels like it's too strong for where you want low speed, extra traction and low speed maneuvering. So we're just rocking and rolling down the hill now, back down the mountain. Been up the mountain, so when you go up a mountain, you've got to come back down it. Otherwise, what you're going to do? You don't want to stay there, not for that long anyway. But here we are. I mean, this is a pretty steep downhill section. Lots of loose rocks. This trail is just all about loose rocks, and loose rocks are slippery. That's the point. But going down, it's easy enough. Just got to take it very, very slow. Probably work on the brakes a little bit more than I always like, but so what? I know they've upgraded the brakes on this vehicle as well, so I've got no problem with that either. You can probably hear the V8 thumping its way along, just doing its thing. But I mean, this is not about V8 right now. In fact, it's anything but about the V8. It's about pure Land Cruiser now. And it's about Land Cruiser ability and the ride height, the 4x4 ability, or not 4x4 ability, the off-road ability of a Land Cruiser, and the total legendary toughness of a Land Cruiser. This is the vehicle I would choose if I was going across Africa. Besides the fact that there's a Toyota dealer in every bush throughout the whole of Africa, that if you ever had a problem, which you don't anticipate, the dealer's there to look after you and give you parts and things like that. But you know what? I doubt you'd even need them anyway, because this thing is just so tough and so strong. And on sections where you can go a little bit faster, this particular SuperCruiser just shouts at anybody, get out of my way, otherwise I may just go straight over you. I don't need to stop for you, I don't need to wait for you. Listen to that engine. Just had to do that for you for a second or two as we went up that slight little hill, didn't I? But that's not what 4x4 is about, or off-roading is about. But that was just a bit me having fun. This, as far as I'm concerned, is what this vehicle was really built for. It's built for the open road. A Land Cruiser, even with a V8, is not necessarily built to cruise all day long at 120 or whatever on the open road. yet this one does it with such ease, with such pleasure. The automatic gearbox as well just makes life so simple and easy and practical. And that is where I think this vehicle, you want to drive cross country, this is the one you want to use, that's for sure. It just is an absolute pleasure. It's got torque like you can't believe it. 120 in top gear. Well, I'm actually in 5th gear, and you're doing under 2,000 revs in this diesel engine. That's the kind of advantage. You get people who overtake you like that, of course, as well. But I'll show you in a couple of seconds what the overtake is like, because that's also something else. You got to realize that when you got the torque like we've got with this vehicle, that you can do things like that with ease and with safety, because that's always the case that you want to know. Watch this now. Let's go. Here we go. Can you hear that V8 roar? I mean, it just goes, and there you go, and so easy. But I could sit behind the wheel of this all day long with absolute ease, with absolute pleasure, and just take the family wherever on holiday, because that's what this car's about. This vehicle is about, is actually traveling, getting out and out in the country more than anything else.
Hello, my name is Michael. I'm the owner of CHANGECARS and the host of the TV show All Things Motoring. I have one mission, and that is to make a difference to the motoring public. Making a difference how? Making sure that you have safe options, making sure that you have knowledge. In that regard, it is my absolute pleasure and privilege to work with Alan Rosenmeyer of MotorMatters. The man with a hat, I'm the man with no hat, he's the man with the knowledge. Thank you for watching.
Getting in behind the wheel, from the driver's point of view, there's not much different. The instrumentation over there is exactly the same, but there is one thing that's different. Can you see hidden over there? Flappy paddles on a Land Cruiser? Good grief. Okay, now that's something that's added by US Cruisers, US trucks. It's not standard. But now we'll show you quite a few other differences on the interior of this particular vehicle. First thing is, check this giant tablet screen. Look at it. It is massive, isn't it? It's on the home function over here. It's got everything you want. Video, audio, radio. You can link it. Okay, let's just get it off there quickly, because I don't want that noise. And oopsie. And anyway, the radio wasn't tuned. That's all it is. But it's got all the instrumentation, all the info you want on an infotainment screen. But then you come down, of course, and here's where there's a lot of magic as well. Because I think I showed you this in my test of the Cruiser 76 the other day. But those are the aircon controls. Good old sliders like they used to have in the old days. I think it's quite funny, in fact. But now look here. You've got extra gauges for your air to fuel. You've got your turbocharge, your turbo capacity. You've got all those sort of things. And over here is a very interesting one as well, because this is your gear shift control, and it shows you over there. Now, can you see it's green at the moment? Now that means, for example, when you're in first gear, it's green, but then it'll click to blue. And when it clicks into blue, it means the transmission is locked into that gear and it's at ultimate efficiency. Now that's something that's pretty neat and pretty useful as well, that you know. Your 6-speed automatic gear shift, well, it's what you expect. It's normal. But this console is not standard. This lovely armrest and storage console is not standard. These are all things that have been added to the Cruiser, to the SuperCruiser. You have got it's hidden away over here. We're not going to have a problem finding it on the camera. But you've got the second gear lever over there. Pretty hidden, but it's there. And of course, that's for your 4-wheel drive, for 4 high and 4 low. And you've got your diff locks over here. Now, those are the diff locks, not locking the front hubs, as I showed you earlier on the outside of the vehicle, which is what did confuse me a tad. What you don't get on this vehicle, for example, is your seat adjustment is manual. There's no such thing as automatic seat adjustment or anything of that sort. But you know what? If you're going to travel across Africa, as I've said many times about similar vehicles, and this would be your vehicle of choice, the less extra electronics you have, I'm sure the better and the happier you may be. You can see the customized seat covers, and look at this on the door here. You've got an extra armrest on the door with a cup holder on both doors. Again, not standard, but nice to have. And these cup holders really worked well, I can tell you, when I went off-roading. So overall, let me tell you, my week and a half with the SuperCruizer has been an absolute ball of fun. It's totally crazy. It's impractical. I don't think I want to drive it every day around town, although you can because it's got the automatic transmission. But it puts a grin on your face every time you drive it, every time you start the engine and get that V8 roar, that's for sure, and the turbo coming in as well. And you're sitting way up above the world, so you feel like you're the king of the world. It just gives you all those things, and then you know nothing will stop you if you want to go across Africa. It's obviously not a cheap baby, but then again, it's as good as you're going to get if that's what you're wanting to use it for. All I can tell you is, if you like this idea and you're keen, you can contact me or contact US Cruisers, US Trucks direct, and I don't think you'd ever regret it. That's my opinion. For MotorMatters, Change Cars, and all things motoring, I'm Alan R, and I'll see you next time.